The third-person effect was first articulated by sociologist W. Phillips Davison in his 1983 article, The Third-Person Effect in Communication. The theory predicts that people perceive others as being more influenced by the mass media than they are. In it, he details 3 events that led to the formation of his hypothesis. In 1949 or 1950, Davison and another sociologist were combing through U.S. Marine Corps documents from World War II when Davison found something that piqued his interest. According to the documents he found, there had been a unit consisting of all black troops and white officers on 2 islands in the Pacific. The Japanese learned about the location and sent over propaganda pamphlets that stated that this is a white man's war, and that the Japanese had no issue with other people of color, essentially telling them not to risk their lives for the white man. The next day, the unit was gone. After Davison asked what the other sociologist thought of the whole ordeal, he couldn't give him a satisfactory answer, which left Davison wondering what else could be at play here. Why did the troops leave all of a sudden? Years later, Davison was investigating the role of the West German press in the formation of Bonn's foreign policy and asked journalists how much influence they thought newspapers had on the thinking of their readers. Davison was impressed at how many journalists assessed that newspapers had more influence on other people's attitudes while discounting the effect it had on them. Davison was involved in the local phase of a national election. One day, he saw a rival candidate's pamphlet and was impressed with the quality. Thinking voters would be swayed by the message, he then made his own and passed them out door to door. Come to find out, none of these pieces of propaganda had any major influence on voters. Third persons are involved in 2 viewpoints. Perceptual hypothesis, when trying to evaluate the effect of communication, its greatest impact will not be on you or me, but on this third person. Behavioral hypothesis, people act on this perception. Through the perspective of a persuasive communicator, the third person are those who are in some way concerned with the attitudes and behavior of the ostensible audience. The propagandist may try to manipulate the behavior of these third persons by apparently seeking to influence someone else. An example of the third-person effect in communication and mass media is the emergence and the increase in the use of the term fake news since the 2016 election and its effect on people during the COVID-19 pandemic. Fake news is defined as fabricated content that mimics traditional news and spreads at a conscious state to serve the interests of certain entities or people. COVID-19 saw a massive rise in fake news, with people spending more time than ever on social media. The harmful effects of fake news range from the micro level impacting individuals to the macro level concerning media systems. Fake news can A. Mislead people to rely on false information in making judgments. B. Change people's attitudes toward and reception of true news. And lastly, at a macro level, C. Devalue the trustworthiness of entire news systems. From injecting yourself with disinfectant to testing for COVID by holding your breath for 10 seconds. Misinformation about COVID-19 was everywhere. One way the third-person effect manifested during this time was people overestimating the effects of this misinformation on others. That people will actually believe that injecting yourself with disinfectant would work. Another way the third-person effect manifested during COVID-19 was when companies like Twitter and Instagram, thinking that people will believe in such things, pushed for fact-checkers. The third-person effect has and will continue to impact media for years to come.